You coined the term prey drive as a fundamental aspect of human motivation. Explain to us what prey drive is and how can leaders activate it within their teams?
I actually heard the two words prey drive at a workshop taught by a former war veteran who was in the War Dog Division of the Vietnam War. And his job was to go ahead of the infantry with nothing but an animal, the dog, and the dog's job was to sniff out bombs, booby traps, ambushes. And he kept talking about the dog having a prey drive, P-R-E-Y-D-R-I-V-E. And I'm like, what is this prey drive? It's fascinating to me. I look up the definition. It's an animal's ability to stalk, capture, and kill prey. That's basically what prey drive is.
Okay.
And the revelation I had was that humans have a prey drive, but it's not their ability to stalk, capture, and kill. It's their ability to see something with the eyes, right? Or in the mind, in the imagination, and to have the persistence and the intensity to pursue it. So I immediately called my intellectual property attorney and I said, I want to trademark these two words. I'm going to be the leading authority in the world at activating that drive in people.
Welcome to Well Coached, a podcast about how people, sales, profit, and self can transform your business. I'm your host, Chris Weinberg, and I have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs get into their highest productivity zone and become corporate enough to succeed. Let's get into today's episode. Hey team, welcome back to the Well Coached podcast. I got a good buddy in today. I'm honored to welcome Coach Burt to the show. He is widely recognized as America's coach. He's got this really unique blend of championship basketball coaching, crashing that against a really strong business acumen. He's dedicated his entire career to helping individuals and corporations unlock their potential. He started early, 22 years old, became the youngest head coach in Tennessee in high school basketball, developed a women's basketball program that was second to none, won the state championship. At age 31, said, I'm going to go do this in the business world, and made a transition where he has founded a multi-million-dollar coaching enterprise. He's authored 18 different books, including a Wall Street bestseller called Flip the Switch. His innovative coaching philosophy is centered around activating prey drive, and we're going to dive into what that means a little bit today as well. So we're going to explore Coach Burt's insights on developing people, driving sales, maximizing profit, personal growth, working alongside a spouse, which we've talked about some on this podcast, where I either see that's either the best thing in the world or the worst thing in the world. It is never in the middle, and we'll work through that. And then visions behind this really cool thing that he's got going downtown Nashville called the Greatness Factory, which is really interesting. So, Coach, welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here. Thank you. I'm excited about this conversation. You're one of the top 5 smartest dudes I know.
Well,
maybe at the top.
I don't buy any of that, but I will take it. And listen to him. Yeah, listen to him. Coach and I probably met each other 13, 14 years ago. I was new to Nashville. He was kind of new to downtown Nashville, getting his sea legs. I was getting my sea legs, and we met at the City Club. And we have followed each other and maintained a good friendship along the way. And I'm super proud of what you've accomplished. It's been a lot of fun to watch you.
Thank you.
And guys, when we talk about, I'm going to get ahead of myself. I was about to drop right into one thing you're going to see about Coach is you will never find anybody that's going to outwork him or stay more. His behavior matches his goals every single day, and we talk about that and how difficult that is to do. But his intrinsic motivation to get things done is kind of second to none, and we'll dive into that. We're going to stay in the lanes of people, sales, profit, self, as we always do. So with that, I'm going to start firing away.
Okay, great.
Fair enough?
Let's go.
Okay. You coined the term prey drive as a fundamental aspect of human motivation. Explain to us what prey drive is and how can leaders activate it within their teams?
When you write as many books as I do, you're looking for a fresh twist on an old thing, right? And I like to refer to that as vujade, right?
Okay.
It's like you're talking about an old thing in a new way. And I actually heard the two words prey drive at a workshop taught by a former war veteran who was in the War Dog Division of the Vietnam War. And his job was to go ahead of the infantry with nothing but an animal, the dog, and the dog's job was to sniff out bombs, booby traps, ambushes. And he kept talking about the dog having a prey drive, P-R-E-Y-D-R-I-V-E. And I'm like, what is this prey drive? It's fascinating to me. I look up the definition. It's an animal's ability to stalk, capture, and kill prey. That's basically what prey drive is.
Okay.
I have the gift, and I don't know where I developed this, of association. I could hear a concept, I can package the concept, then I can market the concept, and I go, that's it. And the revelation I had was that humans have a prey drive, but it's not their ability to stalk, capture, and kill. It's their ability to see something with the eyes, right? Or in the mind, in the imagination, and to have the persistence and the intensity to pursue it. So I immediately called my intellectual property attorney and I said, I want to trademark these two words. I'm going to be the leading authority in the world at activating that drive in people. And then I parlayed it into writing the book, Flip the Switch, which became a Wall Street Journal bestseller. And that book is about the psychology that I've used over 33 years, first as a women's basketball coach, now as a business coach, to activate that drive. So it's kind of my own motivational theory of activation of a deep drive inside of a person to want it, go pursue something, man, do something big, a dream, a possibility, a hope, a goal, a partnership. That is really what prey drive is. It's instinct to pursue.
Is that teachable?
I do think it's teachable. When I get into the activators of that drive, people always ask me, so-and-so's got talent, but they don't have drive, right? My wife had never been to a workshop at 30 years old. She never read a self-help book. She was selling cell phones for Verizon. They sent her to see me speak. They said, this coach can help you. You have potential. She got in a room. The prey drive was activated.
In more ways than one.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so, but then she started to want to improve, want to expand, right? Do bigger things.
Right.
So exposure is an activator of prey drive, which is why I come into the City Club back in those days, activated my drive. I'm around bigger people. I'm at a bigger table. I'm observing. I'm like, how do they do this? And so exposure and environment are two activators of that drive.
Fantastic. How did your experience as the championship ball coach influence your approach to the coaching business? And what's that translation from coaching athletes into coaching professionals?
Well, it all really starts with me being a deep disciple of Covey. Yep. You were a deep disciple of Blanchard. And I started studying Covey at 18. And from 18 to 25, man, I just devoured it.
Okay.
I went through every certification. I just fell in love with Covey's work. The whole person theory, body, mind, heart, and spirit. Find your voice, inspire other people to find theirs, the 7 habits of highly effective people. And so to me, it was like, all right, I have this body of work. It's changing my life. I'm going to teach my players these 7 habits. Okay, now, unbeknownst to me, the more I taught the 7 habits, the more they won, the more productive we were. And then I kind of became known for the guy that could get more out of his players. It's like his players are just okay, but man, he's winning. And they would say, well, how are you winning? I'd say, well, I'm teaching life through sports, but it's very specific curriculum. Like I was teaching the 7 habits to every player from the time they came in. That got me to fall in love with the psychological side, the emotional intelligence side. And I'm like, all right, I'm winning games over here, right? And then something prompted me at 25 to write a book. I don't even remember what it was. It's like, hey, man, people are asking me how I'm winning. Why don't I just write a book about it? And I wrote a little book called Changing Lives Through Coaching.
Okay.
I write this book for coaches. Okay, for other coaches, but I'm 25. I can't sell it to coaches. I don't even know how to sell it. And the book got in the hands of business people. Like I'd go speak at something, Rotary Club. I was joking, called the bad chicken circuit. They don't pay you any money. They feed you some bad chicken. And I would go speak for 30, 45 minutes trying to promote this book. And business people would walk up to me, typically males, and say, hey, man, I really love that. Will you come and speak to my people? And they started saying, well, how much does it cost? And I had no idea, Chris.
Chicken.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know.
It costs bad chicken.
And I remember the first paid gig I got, the guy said, how much does it cost? And I said, what do you want me to do? And he said, 3 hours. He said, man, I love what you did tonight. And I said, okay. And I said, $350. And he said, done. And I go, man, I'm making $100 an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm coaching. Then it got in the hands of a guy at Dell. I went and spoke at Dell Computers. They paid me more in an hour than I made in a month. I went home that night and I go, I think I could do this. I think I could go around the world and do it. And I started studying coaches that speak. Lou Holtz, Mike Krzyzewski. And they all had a common pattern. They would write a book and then they'd speak on it. They'd coach their team. They kept coaching their team. They kept trying to win championships, but then they would go speak. And I started to figure out I could make more in an hour coaching companies than I could in a month coaching basketball.
How about that?
And that really got me to write book number 2 and book number 3 and book number 4. And it just kept growing. It's like a side hustle. And then I was in West Tennessee speaking one day to a healthcare company. They paid me $1,500 for the day. And it was like, I can't believe they paid me this much money to do this. I'm having fun. And on the break, the woman said, we got to talk to you. It's very important. And they pulled me out. And it was her and her husband owned 6 nursing homes. And they said, we want you to be our coach. And I said, what does that look like? She said, we're going to pay you $144,000, $12,000 a month. We want you to coach 1 week a month, all of our facilities. And I go, gosh, I can't believe this. I went home and told my mom, and she thought it was a scam.
That's awesome.
She's like, nobody's going to pay you that much money. And I'm like, Mom, I'm telling you. So now I'm working 1 week a month versus 4.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine this. I'm working 320 hours a week, 80 hours a week, 320 hours a month. I'm making 45 or 50,000 as a basketball coach. I go over here and I work in 1 week. I'm making 144 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and got another one that was 150,000. Then I started coaching home builders, and it's like this one was 120,000. Next thing you know, I'm at 500K of
mm-hmm.
revenue,
mm-hmm.
and I'm like, what am I? I don't even know what I'm doing,
mm-hmm.
other than I know I'm a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
I knew that part.
And you became a student of your own game
Yeah.
to go climb it. You found mentor. I mean, guys, he just said a lot there, right? He found some mentors. There's a playbook already out there. His intrinsic motivation just allowed him to focus on that playbook, copy people that have done it before, and put your own spin on it.
That's right.
And transferable skill set. I mean, absolute transferable skill set. So that's
and what I figured out is all these companies have the same problems, Chris.
Yeah.
And you've been a coach in corporate. They wanted to keep everybody motivated.
mm-hmm.
People struggle with motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So Pray Drive was like, I'm kind of known today as come in and activate the Pray Drive in these people. I just did 1,000 people in Cabo real estate conference. I'm doing 700 tomorrow in Arlington, Texas, real estate.
Mm-hmm.
74% of real estate people didn't do one deal last year.
I read that last week somewhere.
Yeah. So
Good
it's like
gracious.
come in and get these people, keep them activated, man. And we'll pay you well to keep them activated. That's initially what I did. If you remember when I first met you, I was going into companies, banks,
mm-hmm. Yep.
mortgage companies, insurance companies, like a Navy SEAL.
Mm-hmm.
And they would say, we're here and we need to go here. You're in charge of our people. And literally would just say, it's your job to get them to a better place.
Mm.
So I had to come up with customer acquisition. I had to come up with sales cycles. I had to come up with the follow-up and conversion. And I had to keep them motivated. I was like the chief revenue officer of these companies.
Right.
And I could typically get 30 or 40% increase in a 1 year cycle with their people. But I had to dig in, man.
That's combat.
I had to dig in. And not everybody wanted coaching.
That's right.
It's like, hey, man, we don't want this dude.
Yeah. And it's hard to push a noodle.
Yeah, it's like some of them wanted it. And then I studied the law of diffusion. And then I got wise, and when I started to sell these packages, I would say, look, let's just be honest. For every 30 people you give me, 2.5% of people are ready to go. They're innovators. They come with batteries included. They're probably going to win with or without me.
Mm-hmm.
13.5% of those people are early adopters, early adopters, and they will be receptive to my coaching. 34% will be early majority. That's where we can make money.
Mm-hmm.
34% will be late majority, and 16% you could fire today and you wouldn't miss them at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that set better expectation, because if you gave me a team of 30, it's like a very 4.5 of those people are hungry, 10 of those people are open, 10 are slow to adopt, and you could get rid of 4.5.
And I'm sure that happened.
It happened over and over.
Mm-hmm. What's the recommendation for organizations aiming to cultivate a coaching culture that fosters that continuous development and high performance? Because you're there for an amount of time. You're activating them, getting them going. How do you instill? What do they do when you leave? How do they hold on to it?
The best example was, let's go back many years ago. First Bank hired me, and I don't remember what it was, 08, 09, 2010. They gave me complete control over 500 associates. They let me set up the incentive systems, everything. The COO is who I reported to, a guy named Wib Evans, and he basically told them, this is the guy we're bringing in, and he's going to get us there. And you need to get on board or get out of the way. Okay. And I was going into banks, deeply entrenched thought patterns, little towns across Tennessee where they say, I've been here for 30 years. I ain't doing, you know what I'm saying? I'm not coachable. We made it ultra competitive. We posted the scorecard every week. We had everybody on a call every Monday, and it was embarrassing. If you were 43 out of 43 banks, you had to get on that call and explain why.
Everybody needs a number, don't they?
That's right.
Everybody needs a number. That's a good one out there, team. Everybody needs a number. And it feels to me like over the last couple decades, we've gotten so soft. Yeah. And it is okay to expect performance, and it's okay to brag about it, and it's okay to call it out when it's not there.
Yeah, and I look at 4 things. I look at identity. Who are we? we're the best at what we do. We want to be in the top 1% of performers. I look at standards. Are they high or are they low, right? Is there true expectation? I look at language. Is there a language of winning or a language of whining? And I look at accountability, where there's no consequence, there's no change of behavior. So those are 4 things that you build great cultures with, in my opinion. And it's like, that's how they build great sports cultures. That's how they build great business cultures. To your point, we don't even set targets today.
Right.
And then if we don't hit them, it's okay.
Yeah.
There's no consequence. I constantly tell my chief revenue officer, where there's no consequence, there's no change of behavior.
That's right.
So if you're just going to let people do whatever they want to, and they don't hit their number, and they're not going to get fired, hell, who would? They're going to contract to a place of comfort.
Yeah.
That's human nature.
Goals begin behaviors and consequences maintain them.
Yeah. So I'm a consequence person. I'm a target-driven person.
Yeah. And consequence, people associate the word consequence with bad. Consequence can absolutely be the high five or the bonus or the victory or the trophy. And
absolutely.
That's the consequence we're chasing. Let's switch a little bit, person of interest. In the book, Person of Interest, you discuss becoming a must-know individual in your particular industry. How do professionals position themselves as key figures to attract more business opportunities?
So this goes back to a book I wrote many years ago, which is probably outside of Flip the Switch sold the most copies. It's 5,000 words. It's that big. Self-published it. I probably should have signed a publishing deal on that one because it sold a bunch of units. And my top people, everybody that I coach that earns over $500,000 a year in personal income, all says the same thing to me. You help me become a person of interest. Okay. I am really a specialist, not just at Prey Drive, but at packaging. Okay. Packaging intellectual property, your know-how, your knowledge set, and then marketing that intellectual property and then positioning you as the person. I do it with real estate people, mortgage people, insurance people. I'm not going to coach you on how to sell more insurance. Okay. Somebody else can do that. I'm going to take you, figure out what makes you really unique. I'm going to package you up. I was doing it this morning with a title. A young lady owns a title company. I've got her doing events. I've got her writing books. I've got her doing podcasts. She's attracting people. So person of interest is how you become known. And the question is, what do you become known for? Typically, it's a skill. Typically, it's a result. Typically, it's a confidence. Typically, it's something you've done, right? Like me creating the Greatness Factory in downtown Nashville is just another way to raise status. It's another way to become known. It's another way to signal to the market, this dude's a player, right? So in that book, I wrote about ingredients. People of interest are specialized. Right? Like you're a specialist, not a generalist, right? You're not just a coach. You got a very specialized skill set, right? To me, it's like Navy SEAL versus Baby SEAL. It's Green Berets, Special Forces. So number one, they have very specific knowledge. They don't have general knowledge, right? They have some impeccable skill. If there's one reason people become people of interest, it's because of the skill. Like I was speaking this weekend in Cabo with Ed Milet. He's probably charging $100,000 to speak for an hour. He has got that talk dialed in, man. I mean, it's that good. You know what I'm saying? You say, well, why is he making $100,000 for an hour? Because it's that good. And I've seen it.
Wow.
Over and over and over. But he's a specialist. Then you move to Prey Drive. They got a very big engine. And then you move to confidence. But in people of interest, the confidence moves to boldness. It converts to boldness, which is a habit of the top 1%. So ultimately, what I do is help people position themselves as people of interest. They attract leads, and then they convert those leads to whatever they'd like to convert. Like I'm raising capital now. I'm in private equity game. I'm in bigger games. Well, I go out and speak and coach and train, and I say, if you don't want to be coached by me, you could invest with me. And a lot of people say, here's $100,000, here's $500,000.
Right.
So it's like, but I need to pull people in, and the way I pull people in is through that person of interest strategy.
Hey team, are you looking to elevate your golf game year-round? Nashville City Golf, located within the Nashville City Club at 200 2nd Avenue South, offers a premier indoor golfing experience right in the heart of downtown. With over 350 real-world courses available on state-of-the-art TrackMan.io simulators, you can challenge yourself on some of the world's most renowned fairways without leaving the city. Whether you're a seasoned golfer or just starting out, our facility caters to all skill levels. Features of the club include TrackMan.io performance tracking, an adjustable swing stage, indoor putting, and great upscale lounge and food and beverage, as well as PGA instruction right on site. Nashville City Golf isn't just about swinging a club, it's about experiencing a revolution in golf practice and entertainment. Our cutting-edge features elevate your game and create an unforgettable experience. We offer flexible membership options to suit your needs, as well as booking for an individual sessions. Ready to tee off? Visit NashvilleCityGolf.com to learn more about memberships, book a session, or schedule a lesson with one of our PGA instructors. Elevate your game at Nashville City Golf, where the best of golf meets the best of Nashville. A little bit off topic, but still in the people category a little bit. I think one of the similarities you and I have is we were both raised by pretty dynamic moms.
Yeah.
And talk to me about that relationship and how mom has been around for you and how she has helped shape you.
You know, my mom was tough. She had me when she was 16, and this was in the 70s. It was not a cool thing to do to have a kid and be a kid. You know, so I don't imagine what my mom went through. But from the time she raised me, she was tough. We don't whine. We don't complain. We don't make excuses. She made me dress up. She used to say, if you ever had a mom like this, like, you know, well, the way you look when you go out of this house, you're going to look like somebody. Then she'd say, what if you have a wreck and you look like that?
That's right.
And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know where that one came from. But mom says that she always talked to me like I was an adult. She got me involved in sports early. I was around great coaches. I was raised by great coaches. I was on a ball field. I was in a gym, right? But that woman instilled in me a toughness, a grit, right? We dress up. We show up. We don't whine. She wouldn't let me miss a day of school.
Yeah.
The only reason I missed in the second grade because I had chicken pox, and they wouldn't let me go.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the time, I remember at graduation, I graduated with 108 kids, so it wasn't a big school, but there were only like 4 of us that did not miss a day of school. All of high school, right? And it was because mom wouldn't let me miss. Yeah. You show up. I don't care how you feel.
I have a strikingly similar story. My mom was 22. My dad died at a very early age for me, and it's just she and I. And same deal. Never talked to me like a child. I mean, till this day, I call her by her first name. I did that at a very early age, and it's just about more as a survival partnership than anything else, I would think. But all of that grit, all of the same thing. Her phrase was, look at yourself in the mirror before you go out.
Yeah.
That was her thing, right?
That's right.
And show up on time and get back up. The same sick thing. You're sick enough to go to the doctor, get in the car. Otherwise, get your butt to school. Right? All of those things. And I think that really shaped you a lot, having a tough guiding mom there. And it did for me as well. And I think that shows up every single day for you, and I know she's got to be super proud of you, and I know you wouldn't trade her for the world.
That's right.
Yeah.
And even today, if I'm out in the world and I'm traveling a lot, like I've been the last couple of weeks, and if I go a few days without calling my mom, I'll call her and she'll go, "Who is this?" And I'll say, "It's your firstborn son." And she's like, "Who?" And she's like, "I read your book, $1 Million Follow-Up. You said you're supposed to follow up 7 to 15 times. You can't even call your own mom? You're out there being fabulous?"
How about that?
I mean, she will grill me and here's what she'll say to me. She said, "You know what that is, don't you?" And I'll say it's an excuse, because I'll say, "Hey, I'm in Cabo. Hey, this week I'm in Texas. Hey, I'm in California." And she'll say that, "You know what the word is, right? Tell me what the word is." And I'll say it's an excuse. She said, "If you can help all those people, you can call your mother." Now think about that. So I appreciate that toughness. And, you know, I was such a hard basketball coach. I think about my 3 kids. You know, am I tough enough? You know what I'm saying? Because we live in a world today. I'm like, gosh, man, my kids have grown up with such a good life, and I want them to have a good life, right? But will they be tough enough to get up? Because most people, as you know, it really is just the prey drive, man. They don't have it,
right?
Either through learned helplessness, compounding losses, or at some point they just said, "Forget it, man. I'm out." I was speaking to a group today at the Greatness Factory, and I'm talking about doing big things, and some of them are just looking at me, and I'd like to get your opinion on this, because I called Jeremy Miner one day, the great sales trainer. He went to school to be a psychologist. And I said, "Man, why don't people move forward with something when they know it's to their benefit?" Right? I just had that thought. He said 80% of people have inferiority complex. They don't believe they can actually do it. They'll read your books, they'll come to your seminars, but they'll never move forward because they actually don't believe they can do it. He said 20% think they can do it without the help of another person. They have superiority complex. He said, as a coach, you got to reframe them to believe they can do it with your help. And the ones who are really arrogant, can you reframe them to get them to see that they can't actually do it without the help of another person? So think about that.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are afraid to be successful.
Yeah.
And then on the parenting thing, it's interesting to me. You and I are very lucky. We had tough moms, and that would. On the disc profile scale, guys out there, my mom's an overwhelming high D. Your mom may be too.
Oh yeah, she is. Totally.
And so is Coach Burt. He leads with that D. So we kind of had that ingrained. And what I see so many times now with folks that may have talent, they don't have the grit. And where we had an advantage, we had that beat into us.
That's right. That's right.
Right? Beat into us. And now how do you transform that? I mean, golly, so I feel like we started at an advantage.
That's right.
And now I feel like kids today, any kid, same with my kids. I've got 3. It's the same with my kids. How do I make sure you just have a little bit more grit than the next? Well, because if you've got any kind of grit today as a young person, you're going to win.
Yep.
100%. Just so little of it out there. Although I do think it's starting to flip back a little bit. So yeah, that's good stuff. What about? How do you, when folks or organizations are trying to engage with you or me, how should they be measuring the return on investment from coaching initiatives? How do they measure that and ensure that those programs eventually are contributing to a bottom line?
That's a great question. When I was working on my doctorate, I had a course in quantitative and qualitative measurement, and I'm like, wow, man, this course. I'm taking leadership courses, but I quickly figured out why I was in there. There's qualitative improvement. Like if you walk out here today with more confidence than when you came in, how do I measure that?
Right. If
you're bolder, if you go take more action as a result of this podcast, right? I can't really measure it. It's like chemistry. How do I measure it? There's qualitative improvement, and that typically leads to quantitative improvement, right? But qualitative I can feel, and quantitative I can measure. I actually believe there's times in life we have momentum, but you don't have the money.
Right.
And that's frustrating, right? Because especially if you're a revenue-driven person like I am, it's like, well, we're making progress here, and we're better off today than we were 90 days ago, and the team's got better chemistry, and everybody's not overwhelmed. That's qualitative improvement. And there are times that some people come to me and said, man, what you helped me do is expand. I'm more expansive than it. It's hard for me to explain. Am I making more money? Yes. But what you really helped me do is become remarkably bold. And that's converting to money. So I think the way you measure it is, it really depends. There are certain qualitative things. When I took over this basketball program, it had never won big in 30 years. First year, we were 13-16. And everybody's like, why did he hire this guy? I lost more games than I won. But I was building a foundation, right? I was retraining the players. Year 2, we go 28-3, or 18-10. Year 3, we go 28-3. Then it's just a machine, right? There was a lot of qualitative improvement, but it didn't show up immediately in quantitative improvement. So I think when you hire a coach, I think you should understand, am I better off today than I was 90 days ago, 6 months ago? And some things are measurable and some things are not.
Yeah. And oftentimes the behaviors, the money will follow that 6 months to 12 months later.
That's right.
Right.
And I love the concept of momentum, but not the money. I've got momentum, but I'm not seeing the money right now. And that is frustrating, but there's certain trends, like if you study macroeconomic trends or micro trends, like what's happening in the coaching world right now. Is it harder to sell coaching today than it was, right? The reason I got involved in other things, raising capital, building commercial real estate, buying real estate, is because the truth is the coaching business is a hard business. When you look at the vehicle, especially if you coach as many people as I do, right? It can be a heartbreaking business. People come in and love you for a period of time, and then they forget you, right? And so it's like, okay, what else can I do with my skill set? What is my real skill, and how can I utilize that skill in bigger ways? And it could be coaching people, because I still coach people. But people come to me all the time and say, well, I want to do what you do. And I say, no, you don't. This is a hard business, right? I was on the road last year. I think I told you. I mean, there's some years it's over 200 times.
Yeah.
Right? And you say, well, do you love it? I love the speaking. I love meeting new people. Do I love the going out and having to generate leads? And then somebody's got to follow up with those leads. And like I walk out of Cabo with 40 new coaching leads, right?
What are you going to do with that? Somebody's got to do
something.
Somebody's
got to call them.
Right.
Somebody's got to follow up with them. Somebody, right? It's like that part of this business is something I don't like. Then I built the Greatness Factory, and it's commercial real estate. People pay their rents. We make money. People use the facilities. Then I got involved in these data centers, raising capital and purchasing these racks of data, which is the easiest business I'm in that could actually be the most lucrative business because I don't have to do anything. I raise the capital, we deploy the assets, and those little things just work. So it's like you just keep working the muscle until you find one that could be easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So you're diversifying your revenue streams, and I talk to some people who say, no, stay in your lane. Don't ever diversify revenue streams. And then others that go, nope, you got to have diversified revenue streams. Do you think that's important for everybody or not? I mean, do you think the strategy on diversified revenue streams, I can see it both ways. I can see it as a way certainly to expand and eventually make money easier and things like that. I can also see it knocking people off their primary game. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's an individualized experience.
Yeah. I think most of my money was made by grinding it out, running a coaching business, speaking, coaching, training, leading. Okay. Then I took the money and started buying real estate.
Yeah.
And I purchased about $25 million worth of real estate is what we have right now. And, but I wanted to purchase real estate that I could coach at because I love boot camps. I love intimate experiences. So I bought this big, beautiful lodge that I coach at. So to me, it's more intentionally congruent.
Yeah. They're beside each other.
Yeah. Now, when I got involved in raising capital and helping people sell their businesses or taking equity in businesses, it was just a natural evolution of, okay, I've been coaching Chris for 4 years. He's making a bunch of money. He wants to do something with that money. He's going to go do something with it. What if we added another dimension? Covey had the third dimension. And the third dimension was the third dimension to the 7 habits, which was the 8th habit. He called it the third dimension. Well, to me, now my coaching is, okay, I'm going to help you make money. I'm going to activate you. That's prey drive. I'm going to activate the business. Then I'm going to activate the wealth. And I'm actually going to give you the vehicles to invest with me. Well, do you want to do data centers? Do you want to do private equity with me? Do you want to, You want to build more greatness factories? That's a new thing. But my coaching students love it because now I'm offering a third dimension. Which is helping them and helping us.
That's great. Let's talk about self a little bit. Your own personal development journey. Your career's evolved from sports coaching to the business mentorship and all the other lanes that you're in now. What personal development practices have played a pivotal role in your journey? I know Covey's your backstop, the way Blanchard's mine. What else? What else has developed you along the way?
Yeah, great question. So 8 years studying Covey. I didn't dabble. I went deep like you did with Blanchard. I mean, I could tell you Covey stuff like it's my own, right? And I remember I went through the certification with Covey at 25. The woman said, we've never had a person know his material better than you. And they tried to hire me. They said, we want you to come work for Franklin Covey. And I said, I'm a basketball coach. I can't do this. Not at this time in my life. Then I retired from coaching.
Right.
And I got into strategic coach. So I spent 3 years in Dan Sullivan's program, which is all based on a simple premise. Find your unique ability, build your whole life around that ability. And everything's 10x multiple. So we had to do exercise after exercise. What if we 10x this? Not in effort. His was structural. Then I did that for 3 years. Then around 2014, I had a lot of access to a guy named Grant Cardone. Some people love him, some people don't. He wrote 10X. This was when he was on the come up. And we just developed a friendship. He really wasn't that famous during that period, but he was becoming more famous. And he was rough and unpolished, but genius when it came to marketing. And I would go down to Miami and just watch. He had 50 salespeople on the phone, and it was just a freaking machine, right? And during this period of my life, because I spoke at 10X, which changed my whole life, I had a big revelation. I got to get better at marketing. He's a genius marketer, right? He's like the modern day P.T. Barnum, right? And he's bold and he's brash and he's willing to say anything. And I'm not. I'm like from Tennessee and the Bible Belt. And I'm like, but people don't understand how that affected me. I said, I'm a great coach, but I'm a poor marketer. All these people are great at marketing. I need to get better at marketing. But by meeting him, that's when I met the Milettes and the Tim Grovers and the Tim Story, because we all spoke at this big conference called 10X. And that opened all these new doors for me. And those guys got to see me. And they go, he's good, right? He's a real coach. So then I started getting asked to do these collaborations with them. Now, what that does for your person of interest score is now people are going, okay, it's Burt and Milette. It's Burt and Grover. He's got to be good because he's doing all these events, right? And what that came with was more income because now I was more known in the world. That helped me overcome it.
So proximity approach is a real thing.
100%. Get to the right place. But people need to understand what gets you in the room is your skill. It's your skill, right? And that's what keeps you in the room. It's not like that dude's the best at prey drive. He's the best at packaging. He's the best, right, at taking the disc and using it. Like people start knowing you for like, he's good at this, she's good at that. Okay, we need a dude. We need him and her and them and this. This is going to be our lineup. That's how they started to know me.
Interesting. Can you share? You've come so far so fast, and you've got definitely that prey drive mentality, which probably means there's some bumps sometimes.
Yep.
Which we're all going to go through. And so one thing I want everybody to get through is that Michael did not fall on top of the mountain. People don't fall on top of mountains. People climb mountains.
Yep.
And sometimes that means you get up a few feet and you slide all the way
That's
back down and start again. Talk to us about some significant challenges that you faced in your career and how you've navigated through them.
The biggest mistakes I've made have been getting into partnerships too early. It's cost me millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Bad partnership, legal fees.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to build a brand, there's people everywhere that want to be part of what you're doing, right? And early on, I'd get involved with these people, thinking they're good people.
Mm-hmm.
And then having to get out of those partnerships. One partnership specifically cost me about $600,000 to get out of. And that was me actually having to write a check to get out of it. Wow. And it was because I trusted some people. I signed the documents thinking I trusted them, right? Because we're all partners.
Mm-hmm.
And so it ended up in lawsuits and having to sue people for fraud and all kinds of just terrible stuff.
Right.
18 hours of mediation, that was miserable. The worst part was at the very end of the night, me having to call my wife and say I'd had to write a check for $600,000.
Yeah.
She just couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? We've been wronged. We've been,
Mm-hmm.
you see where I'm going.
Yeah.
And I said, totally.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember looking at my attorney that night after 18 hours of mediation. The first demand they had was like for $1 million at the beginning of the day. And if you've never been through mediation, it's miserable.
It's terrible.
It's an attorney who's got a job to get this over as fast as he can.
Mm-hmm.
And he sits down that day and he says, Mr. Burt, you're a sophisticated businessman. You're a business coach. Looks like to me you signed a document that you now want to get out of. That's how I started.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, no, you bozo. I've been completely screwed here.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm talking bad. And so 18 hours later, I look at my attorney and I said, do you think we can win? And it's Steven Zerlich, who's one of the top attorneys here in Nashville, Bone McAllister.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, 75% chance. He said, but if we lose, these people will own you forever.
Oh.
And he looked at me and he said, write the check. He said, that's the best advice I can give you. And it was gut-wrenching. It was gut-wrenching. And I called my wife and she cried and I cried. And it was just one of those sucker punches. So I've had some knockdowns.
Yeah. And that's important for people to know out there. And because you can frame Coach now, he's got a really good thing going, but every single business, everybody's going to get punched in the mouth.
That's right.
Everybody's going to get punched in the mouth. Right. And the ability to pivot and get back up and keep swinging. And
just keep, and learn to say, thank you, I owe you. I got a little extra steam in the engine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was crazy is not long after that, we did a real estate deal where we sold a piece of property and our profit on that profit was right at $600,000. And it's like, man, it just worked out. We didn't know it was going to work out. But the point is, when you study Prey Drive, if you read the book, Flip the Switch, it's not just the activation part. That's step one. But then there's a persistence. And what passion means to suffer. A lot of people don't think of passion that way, but it really means to suffer for something. And then there's an intensity to that drive. A lot of people struggle in that middle phase. It's like, man, I can crank this engine, but I can't keep it going.
How do you with that extensive experience in motivating and flipping the switch in others, how do you maintain your own motivation and that constant pursuit of excellence? How do you keep that up?
I know I can tell when I'm getting dormant and complacent. So I think of states of energy. Energy is dynamic, static, or entropic. I don't always feel like doing what I have to do, right? But I'm a professional, right? I made millions of dollars doing what I do. So I think of myself like an NFL player, NBA player, right? I fight through my feelings, man. Amateurs listen to their feelings.
Right.
Professionals do not listen to their feelings. Like, man, I got to go speak to 700 people tomorrow night, whether I feel like it or not.
Right.
That's what I get paid to do. But what I do is I look at the activators of Prey Drive and I go, man, I need a new game to play. I need to go get trained by this person. Like being around Milet this weekend in Cabo, watching him do that. I'm just sitting in there in the audience going, man, I got to get better at this. He's such a better storyteller than I am. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going, like how do I get better? So exposure activates my prey drive,
Mm-hmm.
right? Going somewhere, seeing something, changing environments, but also big goals, setting new targets. Like I got this greatness factory, it's like, all right, how do we build another one?
Yeah.
Let's go to Cool Springs and start looking.
Are you ready to elevate your business and leadership game? If you're serious about taking your success to the next level, then it's time to focus on the 4 pillars that every thriving business is built on: people, sales, profit, and self. You've heard me talk a lot about those 4 pillars in every episode of this podcast. Now's your chance to deep dive with me in person into actionable strategies that will transform your approach to business and leadership. Whether you're looking to build high-performing teams, drive sales, control cost, or enhance your own leadership mindset, you'll get the tools to make all of this happen. And this is not just theory, it's about real impact, the kind that leads to big wins, big profit, and a healthier approach to work and life. And it's all happening live with me at the Nashville City Club beginning August the 5th, right in the heart of Music City, where business meets creativity. But here's the catch. This mastermind is exclusive and there's limited space. So if you're ready to take control of your business and leadership future, now's your chance to secure your spot. To register, go to wellcoachconsulting.com, where you'll learn how to build thriving teams, drive profit, and most importantly, elevate yourself. Let's talk about the Greatness Factory. You guys, this is downtown Nashville, and it's one of many, I'm sure. It's this very unique concept that Coach has developed. Share the inspiration with us behind the Greatness Factory. How does it serve as a space for individuals to manufacture their own greatness? How does it?
When moms and dads brought their kids to me at 14, they all said the same thing. My daughter's got a lot of potential. And that's an idea of kinetic energy that is stored until activated. Something's got to activate. And I'd say, thank you for bringing your daughter to the Greatness Factory. And over 4 years, man, I would take that kid and just, right, like a mechanic, just work and work and work. 4 years later, I'd send that kid out to the world. It's like she came in like this, she walked out like this. Mm-hmm. Almost like military, right? Mm-hmm. And so in 2016, I had a vision. God gave me a vision and said, build a Greatness Factory for adults and call it the Greatness Factory. I'm like, okay. And so I started thinking, man, I love real estate. I love coaching. What if I could build a place that's just super cool? I'm looking for passive income. Remember, I'm looking for passive income as a coach. What if I could get into real estate? What if I could design a cool building? What if it's a place people could go? Now, what I didn't anticipate, would it become a deal factory? And that happened quick. I didn't expect to raise 20.
How are people using? I guess my next question. Tell us how people are using the
So
Greatness
basically,
Factory.
it's like a private club. Like you have the City Club, and it's a private club that people pay a membership fee to be a member. It's mature business owners and people. It's not startups. So it's different than an entrepreneur center where people just get started. It's people who are already doing well, who want to do much better. And they're like, where can I go? So in the old days, right, we go to the country club or you go to the City Club, right? And even today, the way you build the City Club, it's kind of like a country club for entrepreneurs. So I got this beautiful space, big lounge, bar area downstairs. Then you go to private offices on level 2. A lot of my members have their own private suites. And then you go up to level 3, theater, 109-person theater, podcast studios. I call that kind of the Disneyland for business adults. So memberships get you in the door, typically about $1,500 a month. And then it goes up. Or people can just rent it. They don't have to be members to rent the theater.
Yeah.
But the members get a lot of perks, right? Like the woman doing an event there today has an office there, and she's doing events there, and she's using my podcast studio, that kind of thing.
She's using it all the right way.
Exactly the way it was designed.
Well, guys, check it out. It's is it greatnessfactory.com? Is that how people
thegreatnessfactory.com.
Yeah, it's beautiful space right downtown Nashville, full of energy, and location's great. The space is beautiful.
Yep.
And puts you right back in proximity approach for bigger things.
Get to the right place. Yeah. And be around the right people.
Yeah.
Now, what has happened there is we've started, like, I just look at all the things that have happened since having that building. It's like we started a private equity firm, right? We got involved. We started the Blue Marlin Data Capital Fund. I got on the board of a publicly traded company. It's like, how does this happen? It happened because people walked in that place and go, now, this is a place I want to be. How do I be a member here? And as the founder of that, it's like it just opens doors for me that have been very, very cool, and we've been very lucky on that.
Let's talk about working with your wife and what I see, and it either is the best thing in the world or the worst thing in the world. You and your wife, Natalie, y'all work closely together on some aspects of the coaching enterprise. How do you balance the dynamics of that personal and professional life and not kill each other?
Well, it'd be her trying to kill me just because of my drive and ambition. And she wrote the book Living with a Monster. How do you thrive in partnership when you're married to a driven person? Mm-hmm. She has her talents, which are the gift of hospitality. Mm-hmm. She would be perfectly fine just being a mom, mm-hmm. right? And raising the 3 kids. She loves it. Yeah. She loves having dinner. She loves taking care of the kids. She loves taking care of the house. But she's also got this talent in design and hospitality. Mm-hmm. And I'm always pushing her, do this. Yeah, to take this talent. You don't have to monetize it. Use it, right? So it's like we buy a real estate property. She designs it. She designed most of the Greatness Factory. Mm-hmm. I mean, we didn't really have an interior designer. We had recommendations, but she really came in. This is going to go here. That's what she loves doing. That's her labor of love. So we did this couples retreat called Living with a Monster. How do you just thrive in partnership when you're married to driven people? Because, a guy calls me the other day and said, man, I'm working. My wife's mad at me. Mm-hmm. We're distant from each other. Mm-hmm. I'm trying, right? It's just who I am though, right? And so we work together, but to be honest with you, she, maybe one of the only women on planet Earth who allows me to be Coach Burt.
Awesome.
She never said, don't do this or don't do that. It's like, hey man, how do we do it? And she will tell me though, you need to be here more. You need to do this. You need to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your schedule's overbooked. Did you look at this?
Well, it sounds like you developed an ability to listen to that message.
Yeah. And I typically say, that's right. You're right.
Yeah. So I see so many folks, sometimes it's younger entrepreneurs they'll have their marriage but then their business may start taking off and they can fall in love with the business and
absolutely.
The rest of it goes to hell in a handbasket, absolutely. Right? And you guys are very intentional about not letting that happen.
Yeah. And it's very easy to happen, especially when you're doing big things.
Yeah.
It requires so much of your time and energy, and I think that's probably the hardest on her. She's like, gosh, you pour into all these people who don't know you. They're strangers. Some of them appreciate it. Some of them don't.
Right.
But she gets it. She gets it that I'm a coach and this is what I was put on planet Earth to do. And it's like, hey, that's his gift.
Yeah.
Let him go do it.
And a supportive partner means everything. And an unsupportive partner also means everything.
Yes. And we see a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We see a lot of that in the coaching business. One's growing, one's not growing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do big things. And I mean, how many calls do I have where a person says, I want to do this, but my husband don't want me to do it. Mm-hmm. I want to be coached, but they don't want me to spend the money or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And I see that consistently.
What's next? What's going on? You got the Greatness Factory. What big initiatives do we need to know about?
One of the biggest things we're doing is just raising capital now. I'm just in that business.
Tell me about that. What are you?
So
you got the fund. What is it doing?
I've got a private equity firm that I formed with a gentleman out of Knoxville named Scott Boriff, who had raised about $1 billion.
I think you introduced me to him.
Yeah, super guy. He's the CEO of a publicly traded company. He asked me to be on the board of directors. We hit it off. And then he came to one day and said, man, I love doing deals. I love real estate. I've raised a bunch of money. Why don't we form a fund together? Mm-hmm. And we created a company called Pitch Equity, which is for all practical purposes, a private equity firm. It can buy real estate. It can buy businesses. So I was getting all these deals, but I didn't have anything to do with them. Like, it's like, okay, what do we do with this deal? So we look at a business, we evaluate it, we bring our skills to it, we raise capital for it. We could purchase businesses. We could help them exit. We could help them start their board of directors. We could take them public because of his experience taking companies public. Mm-hmm. So that's over here in Pitch Equity, right? And right now we're working on a deal in Chattanooga called The Bend. Super cool deal down on the water. And it's right place, right time. And we raise, let's say we go out and raise $3 million to take 20% of that deal. Mm. Ultimately, we want to raise $25 million and take 70% of that deal, which is just this big project, great returns to the investors, right? And we have the fund and the know-how of how to do it. So that's over here. And then I've started the Blue Marlin Capital Data Fund, which is really purchases. When you say data centers, a lot of people think you're buying the whole data center. You're really not. You're actually, think of a rack of data that has almost like an apartment complex. You buy a rack, it's like buying a little apartment complex. It's $1.6 million. It's got 60 little units on it, 60 little units of data. There's more demand for data than there is supply. So there's nowhere to put all this data. So the minute we open that little apartment complex up, in 15 minutes it's rented. And the rents start kicking off. Boom, boom, boom. And there's enough spread in there to pay the investors a healthy return and for us for managing the fund. So that's been easy raising capital.
How fun. Let's talk about any advice for aspiring coaches. What advice would you give to individuals aspiring to enter the coaching profession?
I think you really got to love it, man.
Yeah.
It's a hard business. Mm-hmm. You got to understand that this is a business, right? It's like, how many coaches did John Maxwell certify? 35,000.
Right.
They did 350 million in certifications, and there's probably not 100 who know how to make money.
Right.
And this is a business.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go out and generate leads.
Mm-hmm.
You got to capture the leads. You got to convert the leads. You got to have coaching packages. You got to coach people.
Right.
So I think a lot of people look at it like, well, Coach Burt's flying around on a private jet or whatever they see, and they don't see the like years and years of grind. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It ain't easy. It's not. Look at how many businesses ever get to 10 million in the coaching space,
or 1 million,
or 1 million.
Right.
So it's like there's, one time I heard there's like 800,000 people that call themselves a coach in the United States. I think it's a little inflated, but maybe it's true. Maybe it's in the world. And then I saw that the average coach is making 47,000 a year. Okay. And our goal is 41,000 a day. That's what we're trying to hit in the coaching business 5 days a week. That is 10 million a year, right? And that ain't easy. That is not easy.
Right.
And so it's like we got to generate thousands of leads. Somebody's got to convert the leads. Somebody's got to coach. Do we build more coaches? Do we set it up more like a church model where I'm the lead pastor? You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
And it's like, so it's, I think a lot of people don't understand that part of the business. They think, man, I'm just going to speak. I got a message. I'm going to write a book and it's going to be a bestseller.
Right.
It took me 18 books to write a Wall Street Journal bestseller.
Yeah.
It took me years to figure out. The first 4 years, I moved the needle quickly in revenue, but look at how labor intensive that was. I'm going into a $2 billion bank. I'm coaching 500 people by myself. I'm going into a mortgage company. Like, it was brutal. And then I started going, what if I could group coach people, right? I do one-to-ones today. Typically charge $15,000 for 3 hours. But that's still labor intensive.
Right.
If I spend a full day with people, it's labor intensive.
Yeah.
So I think you really need to think through the model. But the first step, if you really want to do it, is get around somebody who's done it and observe. Yeah. What's a day like with you? My best friend went on vacation with me last week, and he says, number one, I'm the worst vacation partner in the world because I always get the work in before I vacate. Right. I do the work first. And he's traveled with me just a few times. And he said, man, I don't know how you do this. He said, I go with you one time and I'm exhausted for 3 weeks. And I'm like, this is just a way of life for me. Yeah. Different cities, different time zones. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that can be, it looks glamorous, but can also be lonely. You've traveled a lot. That's right. It looks, but there's a lot of time you're in the hotel by yourself, and you're in a hotel room by yourself. Yeah. And so it's not like it looks. It looks glamorous. It's like I was reading Jonathan Cain's book, who wrote "Don't Stop Believing," and he talked about these two worlds he lived in. One where he's out on the road, and one when he came home. Right. And when he came home, it was totally different because he wasn't famous when he came home. That's right. He was just daddy. Yeah. And when I get home, my kids, I'm just Michael. I'm dad. That's right. I'm not Coach Burt, and I'm not taking pictures of people. And so, you know what I mean?
And that's a massive mind shift switch that you've got to go through about immediately. I relate to that. And I love Jonathan Cain. Journey's my all-time favorite band. But no, that's a real thing, being able to switch those hats. And it's not all glitz and glamour, for sure. And so I think that's the message. We talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of younger entrepreneurs, and you're certainly something to aspire to. But it is the work. It's about the grind and the work and climbing that mountain.
And I haven't figured out a way to get around that part.
I don't think there is one. Yeah.
So I think when people look at it, I couldn't have started out of the gates 17 years ago raising capital. I didn't have enough credibility. So it's really a journey to becoming a person of interest. Figuring out what vehicle would be the right vehicle, and building some influence. But you build influence through reputational capital. Right. You build reputational capital by showing up for years, right? Being good for years. Every video you do, every podcast you do. And I think a lot of people don't really get the reps. Yeah. The number of reps that people have.
We live in a society of instant gratification, and that is just not, I don't think that's sustainable. Some people get it really fast. Some people hit it hard, but is that sustainable? I look at so many people that kind of get rich quick doing whatever they're doing, but is that a sustainable journey? And I don't know, man, the foundation seems to be the way. And just,
if you don't have the skill, at the end of the day, to me, it goes back to the skill. Yeah. The highest paid people have the strongest skills. You and I are both friends with Tony Giarratana here in Nashville. And, that's who I negotiated the deal with to purchase. And the first thing I noticed about him was his skills. Gosh, I'm like, his people skills.
They're unmatched.
It is. And I don't know that he's ever gone to courses on it. I don't know what he's done. But it was so impactful for me to negotiate and do that deal with him. Just how he communicated with me, how he talked to me, how he You know what I'm saying? It was like, this is a master class in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't understand. Just me negotiating with him taught me so much.
Yeah. He's a treasure.
He's that good.
Mm-hmm.
And you see what he's done in Nashville. It's so impressive.
Yeah, and winning is not an in-sum game for him. There can be more than one winner.
That's right.
And he's
and
very gracious in that aspect.
But it goes to skill, man.
Right.
You're a very skilled person. Like, I saw what you did the first time of the season. It's like, this is probably one of 5 dudes in the country who could do this.
Wow.
I mean, I believe that because you combine your past, your restaurant experiences, your coaching experiences. You said, man, I want to take this place and go do this. So that's a skill, right?
Yeah.
And that's what people recognize.
Yeah. Anything else we need to know?
I think this is a good one, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming.
It's a good one. Thank you.
Guys,
and congratulations.
And we find you at CoachBurt.com.
CoachBurt.com.
Yeah, guys,
baby.
go check it out. He's got a hell of a story. He's built one crazy great business. And if you're looking for someone who can kick you in the pants and get you on the giddy up, just go read his stuff, and it'll make you wake up a little bit earlier. So I appreciate you. I love having you as my buddy. And thanks for coming today.
Absolutely.
All right, team. Go like it, love it, share it on all the normal platforms, and we'll see you next time. Well, guys, that's a wrap for today. We thank you a ton for listening and looking forward to the next episode where we'll continue this journey on how becoming corporate enough can put you in your highest productivity zone to create a successful, profitable, and purpose-driven business for you.